We're all owned by the syndicate, body and soul. Or should I just say body?
Hello, filthy movie lovers, something weirdos, and anti-criterion bros, to the 30th episode of The Sin Syndicate. This is going to be part 2 of our question and answer episode. So if you haven't listened to part 1 yet, go back and give that a listen. And those of you who were wondering where your question was, it should be somewhere in this episode. But my name is Gentry Austin, writer and researcher, and again, I'm here with my co-host, adult film historian Casey Scott. We wanted to do another quick wrap-up for what has happened in the last week since we last talked. We were on the Reconnected show just a few days ago, which is a live Thursday night show hosted by our boss man Ryan of the Disconnected and Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network. So we wanted to thank everyone who showed up for 5, 10, or 180 minutes. It was a good show. What did you think, Casey?
Yeah, I had a good time. But I always have a lot of energy when I do this stuff. So yeah, no, it was fun.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Casey kept the energy high as my energy was waning.
I feel like that's typical. I feel like I'm always at like 110 and you're much more normal. So yeah, I'm always up. I got to keep it going. Yep.
I have bursts of energy every now and then, but during this show, Ryan, I remember he asked us kind of like what our favorite releases were of 2025, and I felt bad because I felt like we kind of flubbed that answer. I don't know, or maybe
did he ask that? I don't even remember.
I know. I think he did.
I think he was asking us like what we watched. I think he asked us what our watch pile, and then he also asked what movie we wanted upgraded for 26. I don't remember him asking us what our favorite releases of the year were.
Maybe it's just a blur. I thought I remember him asking, and we just kind of brushed it aside. So maybe we'll do that now.
No, he asked for what we wanted an upgrade for, and you didn't want to answer because you wanted people to listen to the Q&A episode.
Yeah, and you were like, no, Gentry.
Just answer it. Right, exactly. It's like, it's fine if we repeat ourselves because we had a lot of people that I don't even know if they even listen to our podcast. So It was kind of like a introductory thing for sure.
So should we do that? Let's just do that quick. Yeah. Our favorite release of 2025. Yeah. Again, it doesn't need to be sexploitation related, but it probably will be. I think mine would be, I really like that Career Bed Sex by Advertisement released by Distripix, the 2 Joel Reed movies, which I think even the Joel Reed fans, I don't know if they've seen those yet. So that was nice to have those paired together. I think we both love Career Bed, correct?
Yep. Yeah, Sex by Advertisement is whatever. But yeah, Career Bed is the money. That's the money movie. Yeah.
I kind of ride for Sex by Advertisement. I think it's ridiculous and it's very Joel Reed. He's in it. He plays the most ridiculous character running around Central Park like a madman and whipping women and all the masks. I think it's a mess, but it's very entertaining. But yeah, that release I think is really good. Also shout out another Distripix, which was the Confessions of a Psycho Cat and Fat Black Pussycat double feature. I mean, the fact that we got the Psycho Cat herself, Whedon, they did, on the commentary for that, it was amazing. I mean, that's worth picking up alone for that. And one last shout out. I'm a big fan of those Danza Macabre Italian Gothic collections that Severin's been putting out, and they did volume 4, which is kind of a mixture. There's one 4K release in there. It's an upgrade of Terror Creatures from the Grave. And they've got Night of the Damned, which is kind of a rarity that most people haven't seen. And then they've got a Devil's Wedding Night with Rosalba Neri, which is a masterpiece. And Baba Yaga is very fun. And then there's a CD in there, too, of Piero Umiliani's soundtrack music. I love his stuff. Yeah. So, yeah, I thought that release was fun.
Yeah. Baba Yaga is the waste in that box. Really? I hate that movie. But yeah, everything else is great. No, Baba Yaga is terrible. It's a big old mess. Yeah, it's very disappointing. But yeah, the CD. I always love when people put CDs in there because
we're CD guys, and we're
love them.
You're kind of a vinyl guy too.
Both.
Yes.
With physical media overall, just yeah, I stream stuff, but if it's available physical, I want it. So yeah,
I
for
actually
sure.
think that they should start. Well, I don't know if it's worth putting digital downloads in anymore if people are doing that, but I know that record companies used to do that.
If you buy vinyl, they typically do include a digital download like
Yep.
Slip or whatever, where you can do that. But
But
yeah, I don't think these companies don't need to do that.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. What are some of your faves?
So typically when companies have sales, that's when I do backfill. So I have Google Docs for every company, and I have the years that stuff came out. So I'll go back, and because I know that licenses typically run out, 5 years after. If so, I'm looking for stuff that came out 5 years before to snap it up before it goes out of print. So that's much more my jam with sales. And that's really kind of what I mostly did shopping for this year. But I had to pick up Severance to pick up with the Mau Mau Sex Sex bonus, which I think is still available, and that was a very limited edition. And I don't love that it's still available because that means that people don't know what it is and aren't buying it. That movie is incredible, and so you definitely need that, especially because we only previously had it with burned-in Danish subtitles. So now we have a really nice, clean, restored version, and it makes the movie even better. I will continue telling people to buy Celluloid Dreams, Hyena in the Safe. That was a huge surprise this year. They
I
also
still
put
have
out
that.
Short Night of the Glass Dolls, and that I love that movie anyway. But Hyena in the Safe really kind of blew that away for me. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that was their better release this year.
I still have that Hyena the Safe theme song stuck in my head.
Yeah, it's very catchy. It's streaming too. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I did pick up the Cauldron Films Bravito Giallo because they're really good at making you think that if you miss out, you miss out. And so I didn't want FOMO, so I grabbed that and the Houses of Doom box set from 24 I bought as well. Because I think they had that up. It went out of print in 24, and then they had a few copies left, so I snapped that up.
Which is that's a whole lot of Umberto Lenzi for you, isn't it?
It is, and I actually no. Well, yeah, it's 2 Umberto Lenzi, 2 Fulci, and then 4 Lamberto Bava.
Oh yes, Umberto Bava is the Bravado
Yes,
Giallo. Yes.
yes, that's all Bava, and I generally liked. Oh, I liked 3 of them. The Ogre is terrible, but I loved Dinner with a Vampire. I loved what is it? Until Dark, I believe. And then the fourth one is Graveyard Disturbance, which I also liked. So yeah, I thought it's a good package. And then I have to shout out Ultra Flush Archives Wild Heart again, the Leslie Winston collection, which came out as the year was ending, and that's an incredible collection. So I already started pre-ordering stuff for 2026. So now I can do more. I can do a more comprehensive best of list at the end of this year. As I try to stay on top of stuff.
Remind me with the Leslie Winston, is there kind of like a bare bones version of that release coming?
No.
Okay.
Nope. This is it. It's 500 copies. If you miss it, you miss it. So you better get it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. When it's gone, it's gone. Yeah.
We also had a question that came in kind of late for our Q&A. It was a texploitation related question. And so we reached out to our friends down there, Mr. Dennis Campa, and so we're really not sure about this one, but I thought we would maybe bring it up. What do you think?
No, I think we should. Yeah, okay. Because I mean, we don't have an answer for it, and neither does he.
Yeah.
The short answer is, say what the question is first, I guess, and then we'll say the answer. Not a clue.
Yeah, let's put it out there so in case somebody maybe has some more insight. But the question was, there was some music in Hot Thrills and Warm Chills, Perez Prado's music. He's credited as Dario de Mexico. I don't know if that is an actual pseudonym or if he said just use my music but don't put my name on it. So the question was kind of, did Dale Barry just swipe these tracks that are in the movie? And Dennis said, it's a great question. He's not sure the answer. Maybe Lisa or Jimmy McDonough would have some insight. What's going on here with this music, Casey?
I mean, it's probably just stolen. Yeah. I've always assumed it's stolen. Yeah, if it was credited to the right person, that would have been legal. But it's credited to a made up name. Yeah, it's just stolen.
And it's Dale Barry, so yeah, it's probably stolen.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like when Roberta was using recordings from Russian orchestras for exploitation. It's kind of like, well, it's a foreign recording; they're not going to do anything about it. And these were, not American recordings. So he could just use whatever he wanted. I also wondered if it was a connection to Charles Martinez, the producer, but we don't have any evidence of that. I always assume it's stolen. And so I'm going to say it's stolen. Yeah.
We also had an email from a listener that I wanted to bring up real quick, way back in, I don't even remember the episode. I should have looked that up beforehand, what number it was, but it was our Kiss Me Quick episode, aka Too Much Sex Fizz, where we had mentioned that there was Harry Novak on the DVD commentary for Kiss Me Quick, kind of made this offhanded reference to some of the girls in that film being, quote, Columbia girls. And I had mentioned how confused I was because it wasn't elaborated on. And this listener wrote in and said that he's pretty sure that these girls that Novak was referencing were, let me just read. I think that they were the decorative girls in all those Dean Martin, Matt Helm kind of comedy spy movies that Columbia released. They didn't have much dialogue, and they were always staying at Matt's bachelor pad.
Possibly. The first one of those movies came out in 1966, 2 years after Kiss Me Quick. Yeah. So I don't know about that. It sounds like it makes sense, but it also does not really make sense time-wise.
Yeah.
In terms of them being with Columbia at the time of production of Kiss Me Quick. I still think that those girls were, dancers at the Gaiety because that's who produced the movie, Max Gardens. Right. So yeah, I'm still on that side, of things. I'm very averse to giving Harry Novak any kind of grace when it comes to giving anything accurate about any of his cast members, because that was not anything he would know about. So as I said in that episode, he misidentifies Althea Courier 3 times.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's possible. I would love that, because then it gives me an opportunity to go revisit all those Matt Helm movies, because I haven't seen them in a long time. But I mean, I've seen them and I've never recognized any of those girls as sexploitation girls. So I'd love to though revisit and see like, oh wait, that would be great.
I know.
Yeah.
I haven't seen those.
It's a good theory though.
I haven't seen those Dean Martin, Matt Helm movies.
Oh yeah, those are really easy to get a hold of.
Are they fun?
Yeah. It's Dean Martin being a drunk James Bond, basically. I love The Wrecking Crew. The Wrecking Crew is Sharon Tate, and she's very good in that. And The Ambushers is pretty terrible. And then what's the other one? Murderer's Row? And I forget what the other one is. They're fun, but they're not amazing. But
okay.
Worth seeing if you like swinging 60s stuff.
Yeah. I'm sure like the sets are great and the music and
the colors pop. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We got an update from Lisa Petrucci on the mysterious writer of some of the back of the box synopses from back in the early VHS Something Weird days. What did she tell us about Betsy Berger?
She didn't know her.
Yeah.
End of story. That's it. So, in fact, we have no update.
Yeah.
There is no update on Betsy Berger.
No update is the update, yeah.
Yeah, we have no update. Don't know where she is now. Yeah, I mean, that's worthy. I think that's something that maybe Lisa could look into more, because if she put out 2 issues of her magazine and they have really good sexploitation stuff in there, there's Something Weird Press is I think the project that Lisa's still working on. That would be a great book for Something Weird Press, because there's a really comprehensive Dave Friedman interview in issue 1. So actually, it'd be good to try to get Betsy involved with one of the upcoming Friedman releases to include that in like one of the booklets for those. So I guess that's a stay tuned.
Yeah,
because I'd like something more definitive than what Lisa told us.
Yeah,
which was nothing.
We forgot a noir sexploitation film when we answered our question. Tell us about Satan in Heels.
I can't believe we both forgot this.
I know.
Alex and I both forgot this. You haven't seen it yet, which you really need to. Yes. Yeah, Satan in High Heels is a 1962 Gerald Intrater film. It's very it's sexploitation, but it's more of a noir. I mean, it's crisp black and white. The big bad city, a bad girl at the center of it. Has a really good cast, a good soundtrack, which came out on LP, and then it also had a novelization. So it was like a relatively mainstream film. There's really not, I'm trying to remember if there's even any nudity in it. I don't think there is, but it's great. Yeah, it's terrific. And unfortunately, I think we've confirmed that is locked away. it's being held hostage by the filmmaker that is not Carmen Novak. So we have two hostage situations going on right now that we have to do some kind of negotiations with these two egomaniacs. Yeah.
But it is available to watch on it's
on YouTube.
Out there in an HD print. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been restored by
it's ready to
by the hostage holder. Yes. So you can stream it on YouTube until he gets it yanked. I don't know how long it'll be there, but yeah.
What's this overlooked question about Ken Bateman?
Oh, we had a question if anyone had ever interviewed Kent Bateman about his work in sexploitation, because Kent Bateman is Jason and Justine Bateman's dad, and he was a director later, and he did like The Headless Eyes with Ron Sullivan and a few other things in sexploitation, and the answer is no, he's never discussed it. I don't think anyone's ever asked. And honestly, I wouldn't. I don't know if that's not anybody who's tickled my fancy to try to ask about film. Because, off the top of my head, can't think of any of his films that I want to know about. Like, Headless Eyes is pretty terrible. I don't need to know about Headless Eyes. It does have Linda Southern in it, which is interesting, because she's from, like, Amazing Transplant and a few other movies in New York at that time. But that might be why I would reach out to him. I want to know about Linda Southern. And, that's kind of it. How old would he
be right now? He's alive?
He is, yeah. Yeah, he's alive. Yeah, but no one's ever interviewed him about it. Sort of like Al Rubin. Al Rubin's still alive, but nobody's ever interviewed him about Denby and Johnson,
What's this, tell us about this Eric Schaefer article.
Oh, yeah, so I had people asking me about the Eric Schaefer article that I referenced in discussing 16mm adult films, which we are not covering on the podcast. And the article is Gauging a Revolution, 16mm film and the Rise of the Pornographic Feature. If you have access to JSTOR or Project Muse, you can access it using like your library card. Your library system is connected to those. But I have it in Linda Williams' Porn Studies book, which is a great book anyway, which, it has a lot of really good articles in there. But, so that
you reprinted the whole thing in that book, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's in there. He might have even written it for that book for all I know. Because, I think it's the original printing, because I think there's been a few other volumes. But yeah, so if you want to read that, get that book or get it through JSTOR or Project Muse or whatever.
Yeah, we might have to reach out to Eric at some point, have him on and talk about something.
Eric's great. I haven't talked to him in a long time, but he's great.
Wonder if he's working on anything. Sequel.
Well, he definitely just shows up on the Forbidden Fruit releases that Kino puts out, and I think I'm trying to remember the last one he was on, but I think he's a professor.
Commentary.
Oh, he was? Okay, well then that was the most recent thing then. He's still that's good. So he's still definitely active. That's good. Okay.
I'm just wondering if he's got anything like a new book in the works. I assume.
Oh, that I don't know. Yeah, that I don't know. I haven't heard anything. Yeah.
Well, I think that's all we got. Should we let's play part 2 of the question and answer here. Let's jump into this question here. Noteworthy sexploitation endeavors with a film noir bent. Are there any? Yes.
Aroused.
So many.
Yeah.
Aroused.
Mm-hmm.
I like Love Is Where It's At. Alex doesn't.
Oh, that is a noir.
Something weird put out their own weird noirs.
Weird noirs are all worthwhile. I think Common Law Wife is noir-ish.
Yeah. I'm thinking for more downbeat, The Animal's very noirish.
Mm-hmm. Animal's very noir. The pickup is noir. Yeah.
Yes.
Pickup is noir.
Girls on F Street is actually very good in terms of noir stylings.
Girls on F Street is actually good.
I'm trying to personally think of like the mood too, like the noir mood, not just the look. Because a lot of Sarnos you could say are noir looking, but don't have that incredibly somber the whole way through.
Yes.
That's a bit more narrow.
Is noirish.
I'm trying to think of some with like actual detectives.
Yeah, so there's Aroused, Love Is At. I'm trying to think. Yeah, you're right.
Love Is Where It's At.
Murder mysteries. Beware the Black. No, that's too funny. Beware the Black Widow's too funny.
No, I think that fits. Sort of.
Kind of.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
Fly No
also-
Pay Later is very discount noir.
Oh, sure. Yes,
Very
fine, I'll pay
cheap
later.
noir.
Right.
If you want to stretch
Yeah.
that.
Submission is noir-ish because it's very similar to like the Carol Baker Jolly, which are also like film noir.
Yeah.
You're right.
It's very like
Michael's-
paranoia.
Michael's stuff's a bit too lighthearted. You can see his very noir influences, but
I'm
I think
sorry,
Michael's...
what?
No, I mean like okay, the
Michael
core
Finley's films
concept,
are
you
too
can't take
lighthearted.
that. Some of the devices in there, you can't not like, okay, this is not serious.
There's
Yeah.
lighthearted and there's camp. I think
I think I'm in camp, yeah.
they're camp. Yeah, I'm like lighthearted.
Michael's
I don't
have
know.
them, you know, yeah, just me. I need a comedy. I'll put on Kiss of Her Flesh real quick.
1,000 Pleasures is way funnier, but
That's so ridiculous. Yeah, I
yeah,
can't
I mean,
love those things. I
there's
like it. They have
definitely. I'm trying to think about it because
hints at it,
also another
but-
element of film noir is not necessarily like a crime being investigated, but it's also like
Mhm.
a I'm thinking of like oh god, what's the one with John Payne and Evelyn Keyes where it's like a man caught like a man who's who's caught in the middle of a crime and has to like solve it or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
like
something like no, Pamela You Are is more of an art film.
I know what you're thinking.
But they
though.
definitely exist.
very
Yeah,
close.
or like it's Lost, but I feel no, that's not a noir. No.
I feel like Body
But
of
it
a Female
definitely
would have
exists.
been one
Yeah,
based on the
possibly.
footage I've seen. Based on the footage I've
Yeah.
seen, Body of a Female looks incredibly noir.
Yeah. The second part of that question, though, I do have definitely one because the second part of the question is
Yeah.
vice versa. If nothing comes to mind, what are some contemporary noirs of the '60s that bend into exploitation and sexploitation? The Naked Kiss.
Yes,
Samuel
and
Fuller.
Who Killed Teddy Bear?
Yes, both of those. Absolutely.
Yes. Those
And
are my
Naked
number
Kiss
two
is-
as well.
I think that's Sam Fuller's best movie is The Naked Kiss. It opens with a bald prostitute beating her pimp into submission, and then
Everything, yeah.
she has sex with a cop. There's a pedophile, there's a House of Bill with Edie Williams. Yeah, Naked Kiss is probably the most sexploitation film noir I can think of, except for Who Killed Teddy Bear also, which is also brilliant. Yeah.
That's like sexless sexploitation. Who Killed Teddy
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
As a whole, yeah. If you want to see a sexploitation film but don't want to see it one, watch Who Killed Teddy Bear.
Yes, both of those are great.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
who asked this question, and they have seen Who Killed Teddy Bear. I think that's what spurned this question. So yeah. that's a good one.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, Naked Kiss. If you haven't seen Naked Kiss, it's Criterion Collection.
Yeah.
It's on Criterion Channel. It's Constance Bennett, who is in a better world. She would have been nominated for an Oscar for that performance. I love
No,
that.
it's Constance Towers. That's not
Constance Towers.
Bennett.
Constance
Yeah.
Bennett is Joan Bennett's sister. That's right.
Yes.
Constance Towers, John Gavin's wife. Yes, at the time. Yeah.
Yep.
Or after that. Yeah.
Just wanted to highlight, what you said, Alex. Fly Now, Play Later, I think is a good one. If this listener wants to check something out, that has some good
Mhm.
With
noir vibe.
Christine Sibel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Cherie
Who I
Winters
love.
with her
Oh yeah, I love her too.
petrifying brows.
Yeah, and the hair.
The hair was fine. The eyebrows, I
Nope.
don't know what was going on with
I
with
never
Cherie's
liked
eyebrows
Cherie
that day.
Winters.
I was like,
Oh yeah, I never
honey.
liked Sherry's hair. I was always like bad hair day, not
Oh.
great. Yeah,
Oh, I like her hair. Okay.
it always like she was going for a pixie and said stop before it got too short.
She got too scared. Okay, you're right.
She got too scared. I'm like, just do the it works for Joellen. It might work for you. Get a pixie. Yeah.
Yeah, she's wearing that curly bob in The Procurer.
Mhm. Yes.
If
which is
anything, with that little white
I
mini
really
dress.
like her in that. Yeah,
Oh,
she's very good in that.
Casey, I'm gonna kick one more. I'm gonna kick one to you, Casey.
Uh-huh.
As far as stuff you've contributed to, what's the favorite release that you worked on?
Wow. Oh God. Unfortunately, most of my favorite ones are out of
Talking to
print.
Sharon Kelly.
that was definitely a highlight. Getting personal, that is available. Confessions of a Peanut Butter Freak. That was the first time I interviewed Zachary Dennis Strong, who was a big San Francisco guy, and I interviewed also Molly Seagram, who was his partner at the time, and those interviews were good. Throw it 12 years after, I paid for a hotel room for an actress to be interviewed on video in there and did not get reimbursed because I was like, this is what she wants.
You're
This is what
too
she
nice.
gets. I wanted it to turn out well, and it did. I also interviewed Sharon Kane for that. Um,
Oh yes, Sharon.
all the well, Woman's Torment. I did Roberta commentary, and then afterwards we got drunk at a screening of the movie, and that Q&A is on that release as well. Yeah, there's a lot that I'm proud of. There's a lot that I wish I'd done more on, though. That's kind of,
Yeah.
it's one of those things where I wish I could have done a lot more. Sometimes I have people say, oh, Leak Mascara. I did Roberta commentary and Lee Carroll. I found her in the mountains of West Virginia. I had to contact her by letter, and then we had to pay her through Western Union because she was living off the grid because she was trying to avoid tax evasion charges, and now she's disappeared again. So when you hear that interview, that when you found that interview on Mascara, that's kind of it. We're probably not gonna hear from Lee Carroll again. So and she's just like she is in the movie. She was everything I ever wanted. So
That's so funny.
yeah, but yeah,
Yep. All right.
I lose track of what all I've worked on.
Well, there's more to come.
There is, yes.
Alex, let me kick one to you before we do one final question.
Yeah, this long one.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the story of Marden Films? Is that how you say that?
Yeah.
That is Marden. Actually, I will go through all three of them. This person asked.
Three of them.
Yeah, I'll just read them out. The story I just like the way it's even worded. The story of Marden Films and their theater, Cinema 2000 in Toronto, is reasonably well known. I was wondering if you knew anything about Peerless Films, which handled films like Body of a Female, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Jekyll and Hyde Portfolio, and then also Dulev Films, which was even more obscure, which put out stuff like Hedonistic Pleasures and The Very Friendly Neighbors. So first one, Marden Films and Cinema 2000. First of all, I'm going to explain Cinema 2000 a bit, but what notable researcher on Canadian exhibition, in particular censorship as well, Eric Vayette, literally just published on his wonderful Substack, which he also has an Instagram account for, the Downtown Theater, where he's been doing some really great in-depth theater articles. Just posted part 1 of a multi-part series on the Cinema 2000 theater. TLDR, though, for viewers who were not aware, because this is a kind of notorious theater, but I don't know if everyone was aware. Cinema 2000 was an adult house on our Toronto's version of 42nd Street, which was Yonge Street, which had a bunch of porno houses and things like that. Cinema 2000 was founded by a man named Max Allen, who coined the idea to show the films on videotape via multiple closed-circuit TVs above the viewers where they were sitting, because videotape was not covered by, I don't know if this was Ontario Act or Canada, the Theatres Act, which governed the Ontario Censor Board and regulated theatres. Because motion pictures in that act were constituted as being on film. So anything on videotape was pretty much fair game. So Cinema 2000 was known for playing films that no one else could play because they did not have to be taken to the censor board. Their number one, most notorious one was Vixen, which they did have to pay a fine for because they were still found for putting on an obscene show. But other notable ones that they showed that others couldn't were Lonesome Cowboys did very, very well for them. I think Super Vixens also did very, very well for them. But the person that they were asking about, Marden Films and Marvin Miller, who owned Marden Films, was only a partner in Cinema 2000. Like I said, that was mostly a man named Max Allen, who's, I think, still alive to this day. I think he works at CBC. After this, he went to the more safer broadcast than dealing with adult theaters. But Marvin Miller owned Marden Films, which was one of the, I want to say, three or four number one importers of sex films into Canada. The first ones, of course, being Cinepix out in Montreal, who also produced Notorious Ilsa. Martin was in another one. Martin handled half of Harry Novak's catalog, Dave Friedman's catalog, a lot of the bigger guys. And then for some odd reason, a lot of those people's films, like Friedman and Novak, were split between them and another entity called Danton Films. Danton Films, I know, was completely liquidated because I tried to look for Lash of Lust elements with them, because they also distributed some of that. I'm drawing a blank on another distributor, but yeah. So Martin Films, Marvin Miller's thing, that was around for a long time actually. That began in, I want to say, late 60s. And that was, Martin Film was around as a company, at least like on registries and stuff, up until the early 2000s. They pivoted from distributing exploitation and adult film. I think they also did a bit of horror, but mostly soft. And anything hardcore was cut down. If you see a hardcore film, yeah, it was cut down, like Love Slaves or something like that. They eventually just continued on, and once theatrical started going down, he moved into videotape, video, TV production. He later on, when Martin Films was really just film distributors by name in the early 2000s, yeah, they were just running a video facility for the most part. Marvin Miller has died a couple of years ago. And and from what I have heard, was not a very nice man. So trying to even figure out where his films would have been, because most of them are found, but he did distribute Three-Way Split, Thy Neighbor and His Wife, which we don't think those elements are complete or also would have come out. A small handful of titles are still lost. Thankfully, not a lot. Now, moving on to Peerless Films. Also, I will say, part 2 of Eric's thing will apparently have even more on Marvin Miller, folks. So you better stay tuned over to that. Yeah, big thank you to Eric for providing me with some of this information for this. Peerless Films, right? Okay, yeah. Eric's been doing some great stuff. Peerless Films, they began in the early 50s. They were mostly, by that point, that was their largest era. That was run by a man named Jack Rower, and they distributed just about anything on 35 and 16 millimeter documentaries, kiddie stuff, and things like that. They had 6 different offices across the country. They were based out of Montreal. But with the advent TV and stuff, although I can't say for certain, but I can tell based on the differences in size in the Canadian film yearbooks. By 1962, they only have 2 offices, Montreal and Toronto, and they are now distributing sexploitation films, like some of the Michigan stuff, Body of a Female, a weird, odd handful of like strange things. And
but no theater. They didn't own a theater like Martin Films.
I don't think so. I haven't found any evidence of them owning one yet. They continued doing that into the 70s until the owner, Jack Rower, died. And then his wife took it over. And I don't know what they did post 70s. They were in business up until the early 2000s, but possibly just registered in name only. There's a lot of dead Canadian businesses that are just in books and things like that. I think I even have one that just exist on paper but are no longer active. Their heyday, like I said, was really 50 until 1970. Distributing exploitation films seemed to be a kind of a low point for them, like more so something for them to keep in business with. And Lottie Rower died in 2010. Have not reached out to her family yet. I have looked in multiple archives for Peerless elements. There was one archive that did have some, but nothing pertaining to 60s exploitation. Because I was desperately looking, especially before Kiss Me was found, and for Body of a Female too. Those are like my 2 number 1 lost exploitation films that were distributed up here. So yeah, that was Peerless. Yeah, Peerless was a lot less significant than, say, Martin Films or Danton. And Dulev is even smaller. I've got like nothing on them, I've got to be honest. Like they briefly seemingly popped up in the 70s. limp until the early 80s and then really quickly vanished. Almost all these other companies, you can find them in, we have these great like yearbooks of Canadian film, which is just like every single existing entity, and at the very least, the president of it. But Dula Films, there's like one entry and like an incomplete name as the owner in one book and like nothing else. They were very under the radar. That might have been because they were mostly handling cut down 70s hardcore.
Do you think they were sneaking in some non-cut down? Like, did anybody do that?
As a whole, late 70s was the era where there was a lot of crackdowns in Toronto as well too. So I don't know if this would have been a factor, but the late 70s, there was a lot of different things with even like massage parlors and things like that. There was a crime where a boy was found murdered in 78 on the roof of a massage parlor, and that caused shockwaves in the industry around here. There was like all hell broke loose against the adult industry as a whole in the late 70s. If they were a casualty of that, I'm not too sure, but yeah, they weren't one of these guys who like seemed to pivot into it. They just popped up doing this and then disappeared as quickly as they did. But that's all I got for this question. I will hint to stay tuned for further Sin Syndicate episodes because we may tackle this country a bit more. Who knows?
Right.
But it's uncharted.
I love reaching outside of America every once in a while. That was my thing. I think Gentry's goal was to stick with America, and I was like, but there's so much good stuff outside of America. we can take little vacations outside of America,
and we will. Yes, we've got some vacations planned.
We do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's very fun. I mean, I love that. Yeah.
I mean, pass across on occasion. I mean, foreign films are what helped made American sexploitation. You can't not ignore them. Like, you cannot ignore the correlation between other countries.
Very true. Very true.
And things like that. So, yeah, still not a lot of hope for finding lost films up here. Sorry, poster.
Yeah. Which sucks because I think I told you Vixens was very widely distributed up there. The Sandy Johnson movie.
I have a slight higher hope, but like I said, we've got 3 main territories for film, which is Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver. And outside of that, like, it just goes down.
Yeah.
Past those 3 metropolitan cities, there's, oh God, don't even get me started. And like I said, a lot of the distributors only kept their own productions, like Cinepix. Cinepix has everything down to like everything down to like people's DNA on every single one of their original productions. All the stuff they distributed, they did so much like foreign films that never even made it into the US. I think nothing at all. So I mean, if anyone ever wants a Blu-ray of Valerie, we got good elements. There's hope for that. But like Eroticon or Fornicon, whichever that import was, or other things like that, no.
The Richard Franklin one?
Not happening. The 1972 one.
Oh yeah,
it's like Fornicon. It has the woman's leg open with a bullseye. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Richard Franklin.
I've tried looking for tales like that. Yeah. No one has anything in Cinepix collections.
Yeah.
Just 50,000 different.
Not the same Richard Franklin as the Australian. It's the guy who did Belinda for. Terry Levine. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah. Like you could find a million cue sheets for like the 4th Ilsa film, but yeah, nothing on stuff like that.
Wow. Well,
unfortunately.
I'm okay with that. As far as, I'm glad to know that the Canadian stuff is taken care of. That's okay. I'm glad.
Yeah, the Canadian productions, yes, everything we brought in.
That's a lot to expect. Take care of your own at the very least, nice surprise otherwise, but it's like, just make sure that your country's cinema heritage is taken care of. That's,
Oh, that's totally fine. Yeah, that's totally covered. The government loves to take care of that. Absolutely. No. The government has a policy normally where if a lab shuts down, they will take anything unclaimed. Like our government body as a whole is like big on preserving our heritage.
Good.
So, there's always hope that if it's a Canadian film, there's at least an answer print or something like that. Like they had the elements for Deadline that Vinegar used. The government did, I think, and stuff. Yeah. Like they had at least like one, print at the very least instead because the negative was missing. Carpenter may have been the same thing.
Interesting.
Well, I have questions about Canadian censorship, but I'm going to save them save them for a different episode.
For the Canada episode?
We can do a whole.
Yes,
we can do a whole.
I do find that fascinating. So, but we'll save that.
Yeah, they were weird. Yeah, they were strange. On
you.
No, I'm talking about. I wasn't censoring anything. Excuse me. I would not have seized those Nest of the Cuckoo Birds elements. I would not have rejected Mondo Trasho. I would not have rejected multiple maniacs.
All right, I get your point. Mm-hmm. All right, let's finish this out with question for everybody. Mm-hmm. Do we have any hot takes on popular something weird video releases? Is there something everyone loves but you hate?
Curious Dr. Hump.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it's just fine. I think the American version is not as good as the original version. The original version is much better. I'm trying to think of another one that's like widely beloved. Frankenstein's Castle of Freaks is another one. Can't stand that.
I didn't like that either. I hate to say it. Don't worry. This film that you guys worked on is not included in this. But besides one or two outliers, Herschell Gordon Lewis's non-horror films, I don't see the point. I do not see the point of a lot of those. Gun to my head, I'll tell you to pull the trigger. No. I love Year of the Yahoo. You don't like Year of the Yahoo? I have better things to do than consume Year of the Yahoo again. No, I do not like. Besides Yahoo. This stuff will kill you. It's terrible, but I love Year of the Yahoo. Yeah, outside of some of the interesting stuff, like Girl Body, Scum of the Earth, and She Devils, I'm not at all. I do not see what other people see. Wow, that is a hot take. Yeah, there we go. I don't think I have one.
Yeah, I mean, with regard to Herschel, I mean, I guess my hot take would be I don't like 2000 Maniacs. I don't like any of those Southern Fried.
Oh, that's his best one. Well, I'm sorry, that and Gruesome Twosome. I love Gruesome Twosome much more. Yeah, I mean, I don't like Moonshine Mountain. I'll give you that one. But 2000 Maniacs is a perfect melding.
I don't like 2000. I don't like Moonshine. I just think that they're mean-spirited and. I don't like they're all mean-spirited caricatures. They're not funny to me. That's me. That's my God.
Wow.
I think they work 2000 Maniacs because they're intentionally almost over the top in a way that's I just thought everyone agreed 2000 Maniacs was the best of his movies.
No.
Interesting. Yeah. What's your personal favorite? It's so much. Yeah, what's your favorite?
Of Herschel's?
Besides Nymphet.
The horrors.
Nymphet. I know
Let's stick to the horrors.
Besides Nymphet. Well, I like Gorger Girls, I think is my favorite.
I do like that one a lot too.
Because it's the perfect it's Herschel putting all his stuff, all his weird quirks together. It's funny, it's gory, and it's in color. Yeah, I don't know. That's probably my favorite.
Wow. And we all have different favorites.
I'm looking through his filmography to see if I have any other hot Herschel takes.
What's another hot takes? Besides Neil on the Moon, I don't like Doris Wishman's nudies. That's fair. But I don't. Yeah, I think that's kind of okay. They're her weakest movies. Yeah. But I do. I don't know. I like Diary of a Nudist. I enjoy that because I like what's her face, Davy Decker. I do like Davy Decker a lot. Okay. R.I.P. Yeah. I was just say any other one. Yeah, anything to do with any kiddie movies. You Can't See Me. Any of those Barry Mahon ones? No. It's not a hot take, but I always think it was wild that people liked The Amazing Transplant, despite the fact that the version that most everyone has seen is cut. It's missing so much footage that was on the original VHS. And if you haven't seen the original VHS, then you have no idea that there's important stuff that's missing that actually makes it slightly more comprehensible. Well, and that's the only version that's available. Know or think about that, so that's why they like it as much as they do, or something like that. It's kind of like in Last House on Dead Street, you can't see the original version. Okay, what are you gonna do? Well, amazing. Well, no, because and this ties into another question that someone else asked. Is when it's it feels like a generational thing. If you remember the original VHS, and someone else I talked to about this for years was Bruce Holochek, because Bruce Holochek did in the good old Mobius Home Video Forum days, he did a comparison, a video watchdog style comparison of this is missing at this minute, and this is a 2-minute sequence missing here, and I'm just well, how the fuck did this happen? This is a major thing. So
and then when it was announced for Blu-ray, I got really excited. I was like, oh, good, they can fix this. Didn't fix it. So, I guess it's not really a hot take, but it's just kind of like, I'm really surprised that this movie developed a cult following, despite the fact that it's an edited version of the movie that is incomplete compared to what was originally available on video.
Well, at least it being Wishman, it doesn't feel incomplete unless you know and see it.
Yeah. It's missing the catalyst for the first murder. I mean, that's
do you
major.
have a rip of this or something? Does anyone have a rip of this version? Okay,
it's available. It was on Lightning Video, I believe.
Okay.
Yes, I have the original VHS. Yeah, it's missing the catalyst for the first fucking murder. I'm just like, you don't think it's strange that he just kills this girl out of nowhere? I mean, I guess it makes sense, but it's also like, no, there's a reason for this. Like, there is established stuff. Like, yeah, not everything she made is like Night to Dismember. Like, she at least has story beats that establish some kind of motive. Yeah, a lot of that is missing in there. And so it's just very strange. And now we have a whole nother generation of people who also still have no idea that they're missing. God, how much is missing? I forget. I feel like it's between 7 to 10 minutes, maybe.
Whoa. Oh.
Yeah, it's
like
substantial.
2 or 3 minutes.
It's not just like real change bits. No, it's like substantial. So yeah.
Oh my god.
Wait, so what's the original length? Do you know?
That I don't remember. Bruce would know, because this was like a big thing for Bruce and I back 70, in the day.
77 minutes is what's listed most places. So I don't know if
I don't think that's the runtime of the Blu-ray, is it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Was it? I just recently saw it. It wasned the 70-minute era.
Okay, yeah. So
the UK DVD 71 minutes. The UK DVD is cut as well. Because they're all using the negative that Doris cut. So the problem is Doris. That's kind of like Double Agent 73 is also missing a scene.
Well, maybe that's their reasoning. Is like, well, Doris cut it this way, so that's the version we're putting out.
Also, it's hard to find rips of the VHS version. I haven't been able to find them yet. You can't even
I'm on Cinemageddon. I think that's probably why. I'll send it to you guys.
Yeah, because
it wasn't Lightning Video, it was Electric Video. Because they also put out, I think they also put out Let Me Die a Woman and another one of hers.
Didn't they also? Yeah. Oh,
they did. Oh, actually, I think they did. Out. Didn't they do one or both of the Chesty Morgans? Electric wasn't around that long. But
they had to for us to figure out that some of them were cut. So either Joe Bob or
Double Agent 73 I knew was cut because I had an original Something Weird VHS first, and then I bought the DVD, and I was like, "Oh, there's a scene missing with the friend who establishes who the hell this girl is that gets killed in the shower."
Even between the Something Weird versions, it was cut. Really?
Even in between. Yes. So that's why it's just, and I mean, I have an Axe VHS. That was my first VHS I bought of Something Weird that has all the violence cut out.
That's cool, though.
And then the DVD is fully uncut. And I'm like, what is this? So yeah, the discrepancy, and see, that's the thing. This is another generational thing. Like, I think we're running out of people who remember having to order and buy multiple variants of movies and having to like check run times and like take notes of stuff. That's a very Video Watchdog era stuff. People don't really have to do that anymore or worry about it.
Yeah.
That's not me. This is not me being old man yelling at cloud. It's just kind of like, thank God we don't have to do that anymore. But then we have situations like this where it's like, well, one would hope this would have been fixed for generations, because those are never going to be reissued again. That's it. Like, those are not going to be reissued again.
Well, that's why I like Mondo Digital, Nathaniel Thompson over
He's
there.
really good
in his
at that.
Reviews. He always notes like all the previous iterations.
Yep. Nathaniel's really good at that. He's always been really good at that. I think he notes in that review of that release. He's like,
he's the one who put up the really big thing that everyone was referring to. Yeah,
really?
Exactly. This whole breakdown.
I think because the three, Nathaniel, Bruce, and I, we're all part of that old Mobius Home Video Forum group. So we had talked about it for a long time. So Nathaniel's been around forever too. But all the oldsters.
Yeah, because
the good old video
days. That was copied onto the group. I remember when it blew up. The Great Doris Wishman blow up in 2022 or something like that.
No one talks about Double Agent 73. But nobody talks about the Double Agent 73 thing. I feel like I'm the only one that noticed that. It's very strange.
I only noticed it because I read your first review way back when. And I'm like, I know I'm missing stuff.
But then when they showed it as a print in Anthology, I went because the scene is in the fucking print. So I was like, this is the only way I'm going to be able to see this scene again. But I have a VHS rip of that too that has that scene in it. And I know people, I think that argument, which Gentry, you kind of made, it's like, well, it's Doris Wishman. How logical could it be? And it's just like, it definitely makes sense that when the scene is in there, it makes more sense when the stuff is in there. It's still it's still a nutty Doris Wishman joint, but I just think it's crazy she cut that stuff out, and there's no rhyme or reason why. I don't think Jimmy Maslin knew why she did it. She didn't do it because a lot of especially in Double Agent 73, the scene that's cut is not violent. Mm-hmm. It's exposition. So I don't know why that was cut out.
Speed things up, move it along. I don't know.
Yeah, or why
there's so much more that could have sped that movie along if they cut it out. The scenes with the dog and throwing grass at the dog, and it's just like, why is this in here? Yeah.
Well,
but anyway,
here's my Doris hot take: is that I think Love Toy is her best movie.
It's up there.
It's up there. Yeah.
It's her sleaziest movie for sure.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I think that's why I like it, is that it just goes further than...
Well, yeah, because it's right after all of her black and white stuff. So it's kind of like, okay, we're shooting this in color. That's one change. And then it's somehow more grotesque than any of the other Ruffies ever were. And it's just... Yeah, it's
even
very
right down
strange.
to the one sheet's nasty. Everything about that.
Yes,
so filthy.
It is. It's kind of like I need to talk to Bowen about that, because I'm just like, what was going on in her personal life for her to make such a drastic change in like the themes and everything in that movie?
Yeah,
it's so
that
dark
feels
from everything
like
that came before it.
Hardcore movie with the hardcore removed. Like it's just not.
It does.
It
feels very ahead of its time.
Totally different.
Yeah. And then she goes to Doris Wishman after.
I'm like, Uta, why are you even still here? Like, go home. You're done with your career. I know. Like, what is going on?
But she's so good in that.
Yeah.
Like she really
don't get me wrong.
She looks like a cat that ate the canary the whole movie. Like she's just so sinister with her little smile on her face, just loving everything.
Well, I'm like the world's biggest Larry Hunter fan too, so that helps.
Yes. He's good.
I love him.
Yeah.
That's why you need to see Love Is Where It's At, because he's good in that.
You see Love Is Where It's At. You see The Sporting House, because he's a crazy fetishist in that one as well, too.
The Sporting House. And then Jennifer Wells, so you should see it anyway. Yeah.
Oh, she's good in that one, too. She's the evil madam.
In which one?
In Sporting House.
Yes, she is good in that.
Yeah, she's an evil madam. Oh, it's
a good role. It's a very good role. It's another one of her good 60s roles. Yeah, she's good in that.
Highly recommend The Sporting House. Everyone, yell at Melcene to get The Sporting House out too. That's another good one.
That should have been included in the Ron Sullivan early years. There was room for a fourth movie.
Yeah, I don't know why it wasn't.
Everyone, detention girls. Say detention girls in this Sporting House to Steven, okay?
That's a good
all
point.
right, let's go.
Detention girls,
Sporting House.
Good.
It's a prison one. Oh, I only have
nobody's seen it. It's never come out.
It's one that's shot in actual prison. It's another black and white Ron Sullivan, the only other one besides The Sporting House.
It's not on your lost list, so I assume it's around.
I don't think it's on Letterboxd. I don't know if it's on
Letterboxd. Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's on Letterboxd.
There's a lot of Ron Sullivan missing on there.
It's around. It does exist. I've just only seen stills of like Jennifer Wells behind actual bars and like half naked women scrubbing floors in a prison and something like that. Like
Jennifer Wells
prison
movie. Yeah.
It's on. Yeah. It's someone added it to Letterboxd. The director is listed as John Rappaport, and it's
not.
And
correct.
it's So
is that's
Sam
why
Lake? It is Sam Lake.
It's a Sam Lake release.
All of Ron's stuff was for Sam Lake.
Okay.
When he was Ron Sullivan. Yeah.
Who the hell's John Rappaport?
Good question. I don't know where that info came from.
God. I need to add this to my list then. Absolutely.
I got more like TMDb to clean.
Mary LeMay is some like warden lady in it. It looks
Mary
like
LeMay
and stuff.
Great.
Like it just I love Mary LeMay so much. The fact that she's only one shot in this Sporting House made me so pissed. She's in one shot. She walks through a doorway and that's it. Are you kidding me, Ron? It's Mary LeMay.
That we know of. We know of. That's the thing. We don't know. We don't know.
What? That's not her real name?
No, we don't know if she's in the movie.
Oh, you mean Detention Girls or Sporting House?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Detention Girls because she's in Detention Girls as well.
She's in that. I've seen the still, but like I was disappointed with the Sporting House. I was waiting for Mary this whole time. She walks in one shot and is never seen again.
Well, yeah, I forgot she was even in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she walks in one thing, being like, everyone's coming to the sporting house, it's gonna get crazy. And then she just disappears.
That makes me
Wait,
wonder.
where does this Mary LeMay where does this fandom come from? Like, what?
I just love an older.
She's the mom in Amazing. She's the mom in Amazing Transplant.
Yeah,
she's the madam.
She's good at
that.
She's a Night to Dismember. She gets killed in Night to Dismember. She's the mom in Gigi Goes to Pot, which is missing, but she's a big part of the trailer. And she has sex with Larry Hunter in a bathtub in that movie.
She's the creepy
Maybe she's
lady
Larry
in
Hunter's
circus.
wife. Did you ever think about that? Maybe she's Larry Hunter's wife.
could be. Yeah,
I'm gonna be like, if anyone heard that, I just freaked out. Sorry.
They're in all the same movies together. Maybe they were husband and wife.
Except for one or two, yeah. Oh my god.
We'll never know because Larry's gone.
Yeah.
Bowen
folks,
would know. I keep saying it on this podcast. Bowen would know.
yes.
So we'll ask Bowen if he knows.
Yeah, I don't know. Once I saw Mary LeMay as that like whip wielding dominatrix lady in Lust Weekend, I was like, "You're my gal." She's the only good thing about that movie, if you ask me.
Great.
Yeah, love Mary.
She's way too old to be in these movies. I think that's why I'm interested in her.
I think that's why I like her. That's why I like
stumble into the genre.
I love seeing the older ladies who just like randomly.
Yes,
I know
like
who did you know? But also, you seem to be having a great time. Yeah, Belladonna and Mary seem to be having a good old time with what they're doing and stuff. So just like, why are you doing? Yeah, so late in your career, what did you do before? Were you like a Dolly Sharp and like had this whole other life in showbiz elsewhere that we don't know about? Like, just
Did we have this? Actually, you know what? I'm looking over the questions. I'm like, I feel like we answered everything except there's one that I feel like we should all answer.
What's
is
that?
this?
Which one?
It's okay. Are you in the chart? I just highlighted it. This one.
Oh, I have things to say about that. Oh my god.
So maybe is that a good one to close on?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. I also will say, just briefly, the one other question I didn't see an answer to: will there be an episode on Cosmos Films? Not the California shot Cosmos Films. There are two New York shot Cosmos Films because Cosmos Films was Teddy and Tommy who owned the Capri Cinema, and they had a deal with Leo Todd to do two films, and one was The Mind Blowers. And one was Hot Erotic Dreams, which we've referenced on this before because it's Anne Linden, who Alex and I are madly in love with.
Yes.
So those are two Cosmos films that I could see us talking about. After that partnership ended, they
Mean on 69th Street.
Oh, that was Cosmos Films?
Yeah, it was like the first one.
Really?
Yeah, that was like their first ever one, and then there were the two.
Oh no, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Because the Leo Todd ones are the ones that I remember one. Oh, yeah, right.
That's the Kemper Peacock one. That's a weird outlier because also live sound throughout. It's at Milligan's house. It's an odd one.
Right. Well, he also wasn't he? He was involved with Hot Erotic Dreams, wasn't he? I think he edited it.
I think so.
So yeah, the Cosmos film shot in New York, potentially. The one shot in California, hard no. Those are terrible, terrible, terrible pieces of shit. Shot apparently possibly 4 movies in a day. They're terrible, terrible pieces of shit. We will not be covering those.
Wait, there's 4. There's also that 3D one.
Oh, Swingtail.
Oh, remember Swingtail?
We're not talking about Swingtail either. Oh, we're not talking about Swingtail either.
Oh, God,
no, we're not talking about Swingtail either. So potentially Hot Erotic Dreams, Mind Blowers. I don't want to talk about Meeting on 69th Street. So like I said, the 2 that I mentioned are the ones we will talk about potentially because those are ones we're talking about.
Guys, don't suffer through Swingtail.
Maybe we'll put them together, yeah.
Please
I think we should, yes, because the progression of Cosmos Films when it's tied to the Capri Cinema is when it goes downhill, and then it is gross, and then they get involved with like hardcore, and they give money to like Sean Costello and stuff. But so yes, I wanted that to be a short answer, and it became long. But yeah, so so our last question, which probably will have a long answer to.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so do you want me to read this question?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can go ahead.
Okay. So last question. So the question is, so the person asking says, I'm in my mid-20s, and anyone my age that I ever talk about sexploitation hardcore films, sexploitation / hardcore films with is never interested and has no desire to be interested in these films. Do you think there ever is a point where once a certain group of people are gone, these films will genuinely be forgotten about? Oof. Alex, as someone in their 20s, I would like to hear your perspective first, to be honest.
Okay. Honestly, well, Casey, you were in your 20s first during this. I want to hear yours first because you were in your 20s, a different era
I was in my teens. I was in my teens during this. I was 15 years old when I started doing this.
But back in your 20s, because like that was,
yes,
film was different nowadays. How was it back then when you were in your 20s for this genre?
Well, everyone I talked to about these films were older. They were not my age, except for people like Bruce and Nathaniel were around my age. I think Nathaniel might have been Nathaniel Bruce a little older, but general same age-ish. And I think the internet was helpful because it helped me connect to other people with similar interests. But I think it's cyclical because I think, and then as I got older, Joe Rubin was in his teens too. And so it's interesting as I get older, and then Joe is older, but still like a decade younger than me. And we're still involved with trying to get the word out there. And the fact that someone in their 20s is asking this question means that it's working still. That they're still. I think that's how the next generations will find out about these films. It's like any film, really. I think if you keep talking about it and make sure that they're available, then I think that people will continue to want to talk about them. I mean, film noir still has legs, and we're going on almost 100 years since it started. Well, that's a little different because it's more respectable, but it's also the conversation is still going because
back in your day-to-day, when you were in film school, like when you're publishing that write-up on Smell of Honey and things like that, were any of your contemporaries at that time also going to school with you at all when they heard from you? Like, no. Like, no? Okay.
No, my contemporaries then?
Or did you just like your fellow film students you were with? Like, was anyone at all that you knew then in their 20s as well?
They were
still
into these films.
Yeah, or at least trying to. Did they give you any interest in that sense?
Not really. I mean, eventually they started finding out about them through like John Waters, who would talk about Russ Meyer, and Russ Meyer is always a good gateway. Tarantino mildly helpful, but most not really about sex films. But it helps when there's something in pop culture zeitgeist that you can like refer people to. So like Boogie Nights was a big one for people to talk about hardcore. Sexploitation didn't really have that except for like a John Waters talking about Russ Meyer and Olga's House of Shame and things like that. But yeah, most of the people that I knew that I could talk to about these films were older. They were all at least 10 years older than me. Except for people that, at least in person, that's the way it was. Like even when I was at NYU, it was me and Dan Erdman were kind of the guys looking and researching about porno and stuff. And I was the only one that was excited about that Michael Bowen went to NYU, and so I met with Michael Bowen, and that was like a big moment for me because I'd been a big Michael Bowen person. But yeah, Michael is much older than me, so it's like it's one of those things where like. The next, it's not. It can be lonely, knowing that you're the only person in your age group. But then I've been into pop culture stuff that was never popular. Like people made fun of me in high school because I was a Janis Joplin person, and she'd been dead for years, and so people didn't know why I was listening to this dead singer, who's still my favorite singer. So I've always been into stuff that people aren't necessarily into. And I think that's true for a lot of people in media and pop culture and stuff. You find your people, but until then, you kind of feel like you're the only person swimming upstream against like a wave of other stuff that is not even adjacent to sexploitation. Yeah.
Yeah. Like for me, because for me, how Joe Rubin was 10 years younger than you, I was then like, I'm around now 10 years younger. Wait, I always am. What am I thinking? Than Joe Rubin. And then he was mine pretty much for you, which, Joe was your youngster.
20 years younger than me.
And then And then so the way that cycle happened was that I found Joe. Or he found me actually. And that has always been like even before, only people at least my third more or something like that. Or like God, the first one I was seriously speaking to, I was like 16, was Jimmy McDonough.
Yeah.
Way back when, and things like that. And at least at that point, the Facebook group had become a thing and stuff, so it was a bit easier.
Right.
But yeah, in person, to whoever I feel like I know who asked this. No, I think it's just me and you, man. Because literally, I have not found anyone else who, for context, people out there, I'm 25, people who have like people my age, people who are into film. At the most, they kind of get a kick out of the really crazy stories and how the industry worked. Hearing a story about a film distributor like Shelley Wilson, they'll get a kick out of, and things like that. But that's like that weirdness is kind of the most they'll be interested in. Or you have like queerish like hipster kids being like, I kind of think monochromatic tits are neat, but like the thought will leave their head, and that's about it.
I just had a very visceral,
you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Stomach reaction to that.
I have.
Oh my God! I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt. That was very. Very
exactly
discomforting.
What I'm talking about, and I have had to suffer that as well too. I had someone who I thought was going to be a big person. They're like, I kind of like the black and white underwear aesthetic a bit. Or like whatever, like no one's serious. No one is serious compared to who I think asked this question. Our age takes this stuff very seriously, if at all, for the most part. Like, no, I can't think definitively, unless someone else has not shown their face yet in any of the circles. No one's shown up on the Something Weird Facebook group. No one's commented under Sin Syndicate. I can't find anyone else.
Yeah.
No one's shown up yet.
Yeah, it's a hard sell. We've talked about this before.
It is.
But I think, like Casey said as well, I think it is cyclical. And I don't know, I sense certain movement amongst the youth with regard to, I think, getting burnt out by what they're being fed through, streaming services. What I like about sexploitation films and 60s and 70s films in general is that everything is very tactile. Everything that you see on screen was being made by real people and real artisans. I think that is a thought, or I think that is people are realizing what's missing when they, are watching. I don't know, maybe they are, maybe they're not. I just see people making fun of like Stranger Things, like CGI. And it's just like, yeah, that shit sucks. There is other stuff out there. You don't have to watch this.
Correct.
I think it does also pertain to their availability, and also B, which ones are available. As well too,
access,
like ones
again,
that are easier to again dip their toes in. Like I'd say to honestly someone, because I've like spoken to other film people who are like, okay, I think I'd like like Aroused, like something like that.
Great gateway movie.
Like or something like that. But Aroused, it's not easy to find.
Well,
it's not convenient. A lot of these are not convenient to stumble across.
Right.
And the ones that aren't always the best out of the bunch, as well too.
Or they are convenient to watch because they're on YouTube, but they're like cut down or in shitty quality. Right. So yeah, I get those questions a lot. Like, oh, where do I watch this? It's just like, I know what you're asking. You're asking is if this is on YouTube. No, it's not. Mm-hmm. That's what you're asking.
It's not.
That's the answer you want. So I'm just not even going to reply because you're. If I tell you where to go,
and they never have been.
You're not going to click a link. You're not going to make the effort unless it's like on YouTube.
Right. Well, I mean, but also a lot of stuff is shockingly on archive.org. And I think people forget that as a resource. And that's where there's a lot of pink stuff that I've been lucky to see that Dakota and Chris have recommended. It's on there. And sometimes with subtitles. And they don't have a thing about nudity on archive.org, folks. You would think they would. They don't. So you'd be shocked at the sexploitation that is available for free on archive.org. I go do a search to see what turns up. But I mean, it's always been something, and I think that's why it also was very easy to collect these and get into this stuff when something weird had to deal with image, because DVDs were much more affordable at that point. You were being able to buy them $10 to $20 limit, that range. They had deals with Borders. I mean, they were very easy to get a hold of. They had appealing artwork. Like, they would draw you in and be like, "Well, what is this? This looks really interesting. What is this?"
Yeah, that's
and
the thing.
lack in where are you going to stumble across that stuff in the landscape as it is now? You have to be actively looking for it, or be friends with someone like one of us who is going to be like, you know what, give this a watch, and like, here's a link to watch it if available. But like Aroused is such a good gateway movie, and that's another reason why I'm like, AGFA,
because regular film scholars, because regular film film study, like scholars and things like that, that's a real movie. Like, at the very least, even the sex scenes are very well paced and stuff. You can completely take from that and be like, okay,
right,
so on and so forth. But there's not an era where film people can, like, because I've heard from other people from that era being like, all of something weird's on display, like right beside Criterion and stuff. It's all mixed in with all the other, like, cinephile product right there for everyone to see.
Yeah. And nowadays, I think blind buying now, you mentioned that it's tough for you to blind buy in this economy, which I think is very true. You can't be like, well, I've heard good reviews of Joe Sarno, so I'm going to buy these sight unseen. And then you see Nude and Charcoal and Bed and How to Make It. One of those is a good example of his work. The other, you'd be like, oh, well, I don't know if I want to see any more of this guy's stuff, and I bought this blind, so now I have this. And it's just kind of, it is, the market has changed so much that you really have to take a lot of chances, and it's tough when there are so many boutique labels that have all kinds of different genres. So why would you decide to quote unquote settle for something that is so niche as a sex film, especially in a climate where sex and nudity is really not as embraced as it once was, even in like non-problematic ways. Like, I mean, you can say these films are as problematic as you want, but there's still something historically interesting about them. There's a reason why a lot of the stars still have cult followings, the directors have followings. So
exactly, because I totally forgot that, like, I have had like friends in my age bracket who are like, oh yeah, I love Severin films, I love this and that and things like that, but they just mean Jawlos.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yes.
And that's it. It's like, oh, it's so cool, you did this, this, and this. And it's like, no, on the sexploitation.
But that is why,
like, what about the Jawlo? Like,
But
Bolty.
That is why, but also a lot of companies do the smart thing, and where they also snap up the streaming rights to stuff that they get. So I use Tubi as a test drive. That's my test drive. If something goes out on Blu-ray and it's streaming on Tubi, I don't care if it has commercials. I'm testing it to see if I need to buy it. Sexploitation, you don't get that luxury. You kind of have to go with it. For example, the Pickup, that limited edition, snapped it up immediately because I knew what that was. Mm-hmm. Where is anyone going to know who the fuck Dave Friedman, Lee Frost, Bob Cressy are to buy that release?
They're not going to be able to. On Tubi. That'd be so good.
They can't test drive the Pickup anywhere. They can't even test drive Meow Meow Sex anywhere. So they can't test drive the Scavengers or Hotspur anywhere.
Actually, do you not think they could put sexploitation stuff on Tubi, like the lighter stuff?
Yes, they could. The issue is that nobody is doing it. That's the problem.
Well, they've only done the arc.
There are manual ripoffs on Tubi. Honestly, DistroPix has R-rated versions of Through the Looking Glass, Roommates. All of that stuff should be on Tubi.
Oh,
they have scans. Yeah. They have scans of this stuff. Get it on Tubi. What's the problem? Like, there are opportunities here for sex stuff that I think people think, well, no, they think of Tubi as YouTube. They have R-rated stuff on there. They have Cannibal fucking Holocaust on there. They have a turtle getting ripped apart on there. Do you think they're gonna? Platinum. Retro Seduction got Platinum Pussycat.
Pussycat. This Retro Seduction puts everything on there. They can. They can. It's just Retro Seduction on there.
Yeah. So I don't know why. Because I think they think, well, they're giving away the milk for free, and it's like, no, if people see it and like it, they will buy it, because the same applies to every other genre. If I watch something on Tubi and I like it, I'm buying it.
Yeah. Also, some sexploitation films are good as free or extra stuff. Like,
correct.
There's some.
Put Aroused on Tubi. Like, if people are able to see it and talk about it more, I think that will continue to keep it alive. But yeah, so the greater part of this question is, when you think that people are gone, are these films going to be forgotten all over again? I personally don't
No.
think so. I think because it is cyclical, I think that they're going to be, yeah, like I'm in my 40s. Gentry, I'm going to say you're in your 30s. And Alex, I feel like you're in your 20s. I feel like we're all
Yeah.
Thanks.
separated by like, I'm not allowing you to correct me. We'll just say you're 30, 33. And so we'll just say that. So I feel like, I mean, it's like every decade, there's new people discovering these films through one way or another. I think it's kind of like silent films. You know, silent films still make money. Flickr Alley is still in business.
Mm-hmm.
Who is buying silent films these days? All the people that remember seeing them those people are dead, and they haven't been broadcast on television in years. But people still love Clara Bow. People still love John Barrymore and Lillian Gish and all these people. Who's buying these? It's definitely a thing. It's like people in the know will keep it alive, and then they can communicate that to other people. I think for sexploitation, though, it's a little tougher because it is something now where sex and nudity is so discomforting to discuss or treat seriously.
Yeah. It's not as easy to share with other people because they feel guilty. They're like,
or they think it has implications.
Think I'm a pervert. Yes.
Or they think it has improper implications into illegal, nefarious things that happen to people behind the scenes, which wasn't as much a thing in sexploitation.
Yes.
Like people think it's like contemporary hardcore stuff's going on. You know, like there's a lot of misconceptions in that realm as well too. Like, why should we study it? Because it seems like it should be an illegal thing, you know? Like,
but it also makes it like, so we're like one of the last remaining kind of cult communities in film, because it is something that is discussed with like a small group of people that sometimes you can bring people into the fold, but you have to know what they're into. And that's why, like, for example, I keep going back to Dakota and Chris. They recommended all these Roman pornos to me, full of sexual assault, violence against women. They know, based on my experiences with ruppies and sex films, they can recommend stuff to me and I will watch it and I will love it because I can approach it with a certain perspective. But I can't then turn around and recommend like zoom in rape apartments to anybody. You know, I just can't do that. So it kind of stops with me until I find somebody else that can be like, okay, well, if you like horror and, you know, you're okay with a woman finding some kind of sexual agentry through trauma, then you might like this. Do you like thriller or cool picture? Then you might really like this because it's similar. You have to test the waters, I think. But there aren't that many other genres where the fans have to do that. Horror fans don't really have to do that because everyone likes at least one horror movie, you know?
Yep, I know.
But we have talked about that, you know, where it's like we can't recommend the Novaks to the Novak country sex movies to people unless they are established exploitation people. Russ Meyer's easier to recommend.
When I first watched those in my beginning, when I was like 15 or so, I was like, these should be burned. I was like, these southern films, these like, oh my god,
they're tough sells
nowadays. Oh goodness, all day, every day. But back then, I was like, Mike Vraney, you have terrible taste. Fuck something weird. This is awful.
I know,
awful stuff.
But there's also, like there is some maturing that comes with, and this is, it took a while for me to come to this, where I've said on this podcast before, I used to fast forward through sex scenes. And if there wasn't anything worthwhile in between the sex scenes or it didn't grab me, then I was like, well, this is a piece of shit movie. Ignoring the fact that, you know, sometimes the sex scenes are why these exist. And if they're well done enough and they're compelling enough and they feature cast members that I like and I like seeing, like, and they're enjoying themselves, then that is kind of the joy in some of these films. And that you're just seeing people pretend to have sex and it's well shot and they look like they're joyful and enjoying sex in the 60s and it's like free love, whatever. But there is a maturing in there where now I'm much more comfortable with sex in nudity in general when I was not for a long time. You have to kind of, you kind of have to unlearn that. You have to unlearn a lot of shit that society puts on you. Like, well, sex is bad only within the confines of marriage. That doesn't really, and then it's tough for me because I'm like, well, I'm gay. People hate me for other reasons. I hate sex because I'm supposed to, you know, because I shouldn't be having it. So
Well, we haven't even talked about like the pornification of our modern world, where anything nudity is like, well, this should be consumed alone in my bedroom. Yes. Nobody else should know about this.
Right.
When that was not the case when these movies were made. It was a very different circumstance.
Right.
Yeah. It was a lot harder to consume things alone, depending on your living situation.
Yeah.
And things like that, you know? There was a bit more of an experience to these.
Right.
Yeah. Hell, there's a bit more experience to... Yeah, go ahead.
Well, and it's interesting because, like, knowing more about the time period, like, the time period in which a lot of these films were made were not great for women. And they weren't great for, like, sexual progress and things like that. So also coming at these films now with their perspective now makes them even more interesting, because not because they're like forbidden or whatever, but it's just like, well, they are a product of their time, but there are also elements of that time that feel more progressive because we're going backwards. And so it is this embracing of being sexually open, and like even the films that like punish the women. Or, you know, I think we talked about a bunch of movies on this podcast where the women are, you know, going through so much trouble. And it's just like, yeah, but the men are garbage. So like, we're always on the woman's side. We're like, I'm always for these women. They're going through terrible shit, and I feel bad for them. I'm not cheering them on, thinking they deserve this. I hate these fucking men, and I want the woman like Gigi Darlene in Hot Nights on the Campus. I think audiences then are kind of like, well, she slept around. This is what she gets. And I'm like, no, she's enjoying college, and these men are garbage. So I want her to survive. I'm cheering her on.
She had great and well-deserved agency for experimentation.
Exactly.
As I think a lot about, even with the books and stuff, I'm like, wow, all these people have really great agency about them and stuff. Like they know what they want and stuff. Right. They're going to go out there and get it, despite what most people think. Unfortunately, they're going to get beaten up during it or something like that. But like, I'm always like, good for you, girl, for deciding to get out there and take on this serial killer when you didn't have to. Good for you for just being like, you know what?
Right.
I hate being a virgin. I'm gonna deal with this right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna liberate myself. Screw you. Like,
right. Well, and I feel like you can still make that arguments about Ruffies too, where it's kind of like, well, you know, the movie's about punishing women or whatever, but even like the Defilers, I hate those guys. I fucking hate those guys. So I'm not rooting for these guys to like, yes, make sure you kidnap this girl. That's turn her into a toy.
Yeah, Defilers like, and even like the animal is not pro them.
No, I'm not supporting them. No,
and the film does not try and make you support them either. It shows that they're absolute pieces of shit.
Right,
and you should hate them for doing all this.
If the book isn't that expensive, because it's another one of these academic presses, Elena Gorfinkel's book on sexploitation is actually really well done. It's really good. It's really good to read it coming at it from a woman's perspective, which is something that I always wish that we had more of on this podcast. And we're going to try to get more women on as guests, you know, experts in the field and things. But it's interesting to get a woman's perspective on these things, because it isn't just about she doesn't come from it. It's like, well, yeah, the movies are really about punishing women. And so for that reason, they're of their time, and they should just be viewed with like a distance from the material. And it's too safe to just not engage with them. It's also robbing yourself of like, I think actually becoming more literate as a film viewer. Like if you're not able to engage with movies as cheap and sometimes stupid as some of these movies are, because some of them are actually very eloquently done, like All American Girl, which even though it's about a teenage girl, you know, having statutory rape with an older man, the whole movie is her establishing her sexual boundaries and developing her sex life on her terms. We would never see a movie like that now, ever.
Yeah.
Because we just say, well, teenagers having sex is bad. Period. It's like, well, that sounds like the religious right. So do you want to sound like them right now? Or do you want to be like, well, teenagers, if you want to pursue sex, maybe establish what your boundaries are, do it safely and responsibly, which that's kind of what she does. You know, she kind of does that in this film.
Yeah. I can't think of a greater way to study the 60s and the dichotomy between the polarization of the McCarthy era and then the sexual revolution and how much it affected middle-aged couples who are still mentally stuck in the McCarthy era, and how these films really kind of like, and in the books in particular, really like look like into that disparity. And I can't think of another genre that like actually honestly looks at how actually difficult the sexual revolution was for quite a few people to get to grasp, and vary between genders and things like that. Like there's a lot to look into beyond the devices.
Right. Well, that's why, and also Gentry, we talked briefly about Inside Amy when we were talking about Ron Garcia, but even that movie is like, it's like that's one of the only movies of that time that is very vividly explaining why the sexual revolution was designed to benefit men. So when a woman is trying to benefit from it, all of a sudden she's a villain, and the man, and we have to support this man because his feelings are hurt, and he has to kill all these men that are having sex with his wife while they're swingers. And it's just like, well, that's why I love that movie so much, because I'm just like, this is aged so well. Because then it must have been terrible. It must have been like, well, this is anti-sex, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, no, actually, this woman is kind of a hero. She kind of discovered herself sexually, and her husband is a piece of garbage. That's great to me. I love coming from a modern perspective. Exactly. So, but
we don't have contemporary films that deal with that. We're still dealing with it. Like we don't have commentary films that are at that, or at least as known.
No, we don't. And so that's why I think I guess referring back to this question. So I think it's something that, like we said, it's cyclical, but it's also something that I think the more you watch these films and develop your viewpoint as a viewer, and why you like them, and why there are certain things about the films that speak to you, whether they be the sex scenes or whether it be like recurring themes, the way it presents women, the way it comments on mores of the time. Like, I think it becomes easier to be able to not argue, but like properly illustrate why you like these films.
Yeah,
so the people
why there's some importance to them.
Yes, but then also on the other hand,
there doesn't need to be importance to them.
Importance for.
Well, yes. Well, for example, I keep going back to All American Girl. Yes, I like the thematic importance of that film and what that character in the script is trying to tell us as viewers. But it's also immensely erotic. I love watching that movie because it captures sex so beautifully, and it's joyful and it's playful, and it's like, that is great. There is nothing wrong with enjoying sex if it's captured that way, because it's capturing how great sex is. And I think that that's something that's lost, honestly, whether it be the male gaze or, whatever. I think it's, I think the best examples of the genre are able to really illustrate that really beautifully, I think.
Yeah. Why that is, I think, is a whole nother discussion,
Yes.
But we won't go there in this episode. No. Thanks, everybody, for sending your questions. And thank you, Alex, for joining us.
Yeah, this was a good long one.
Yeah.
We'll have to do this again. Maybe we'll make this a yearly thing.
Yeah, maybe we should start every year with a Q&A.
Especially as our audience hopefully grows, we might have some new listeners that have some interesting and thought-provoking ideas.
I have a question, actually.
No, we're done.
I have one though.
Go ahead.
Because I think this is no brainer for the beginning of the year. I think this is kind of a no brainer. Any particular new sexploitation watches this year that really stood out to you? Does anyone have a new favorite that they saw this year that they?
You mean last year?
Yes.
All American Girl.
Did anyone have one?
That's an easy one. Casey mentioned All American Girl. Love that movie. Yeah.
Yes, that was his first time watching it. And you also watched Toy Box for the first time this year, right?
Yeah, that was my first Toy Box. Yep.
That one's good. I'm trying to think of something new that I watched.
Have you, Casey?
I mentioned it, Zoom In Rape Apartments, which, despite the title, I could not stop thinking about that movie and its leading actress. I am absolutely enamored of Arena Miyai, and wherever she is, I hope she's doing well. Trying to think of anything new. See, that's the thing. A lot of the stuff that we cover on the podcast and things I've been watching they're all revisits. So
I was about to say, what sexploitation films have you not seen that are just not that it still exist. Like,
well, I didn't watch.
numbers, so
I have Nude and Charcoal. I didn't watch that yet, and
that wouldn't have been a highlight for you.
I
anyway.
need to watch. I still haven't watched Scorpio 70. I have that on the way. The Ron Sullivan thing.
Did you see Sex by Advertisement yet? I thought that one you hadn't seen.
No, I've seen both. Yeah, because I had the Something Weird DVD.
Okay.
Yeah, everything that came out on Something Weird DVD I've seen. Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else I watched. Because a lot of, it's always revisits for me, which isn't to say that I've seen everything, but as I try to go chronologically through the catalog, I haven't gotten to any categories yet where there's stuff I haven't seen yet. So that's,
What about you, Alex?
Okay, I had 3 because, of course, 2 of them are going to be the Milligans, because those are absolute no-brainers. And nowadays, I quote Natalie Rogers all the damn time from Kiss Me. You two are going to love her. Get up, get that.
Wait. So you're throwing out quotes that nobody else has even heard. Well, unless you're at the screen.
To excite them. Okay.
I mean, I quote her anyway. Do you know how often I say I say all the time, you've ruined my life, and now I've ruined your dinner. I say that all the time. People don't know what I mean. I'm just like, you don't know. You haven't seen Seeds. Go ahead.
Yeah. People are gonna know. People are gonna know in a little bit. Like, Andy, you're so adorable. Oh God. Anyway, those 2. I think Kiss Me might be my favorite sexploitation film now, and it's so good. Yeah, it's so good.
Okay.
And then those were the no-brainers, but then also number 1 that's been available, giving them something they could see. Room and Broad. Hands down.
I'm glad you liked that so much.
My absolute favorite. Okay, I'm not kidding when I said I read the script, and 3 months in between me getting that Sarno script and me seeing Room and Broad, I can't tell you how many times a week I just thought to myself, damn, I wish someone produced that script. That's a good script.
Wow. What a great surprise.
I'm so mad he didn't do that script. That would have been so much better than Skin Deep in Love. Fuck Skin Deep in Love. This would have been so much better than Skin Deep in Love.
That's not good.
Going on and on and on. So then I start to already watch a good sexploitation film. It's already doing good. But then as I'm going, I'm just kind of like, this is so funny. This is kind of like that Joe Sarno script I love. That's so weird. Oh, this is still kind of like that Joe Sarno script. And then she has the line, and then she has her titular line in that, where she's like, I'll teach you that like 2 men are better than 1, 10 are better than 5, 20 better than 10. And my jaw just like hits the floor because I remember that line. I'm like, fight or flight. Do I message them about it first, or do I grab the script first? I don't know what to do. Right now.
But you know what I love about this? You learned this before Tim Lucas ever did, and he probably still doesn't know that this was that Sarno script actually was produced. He probably still doesn't know.
Thank you for listening. To hear more shows from the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, please select the link in the description.
Are you a film fan who loves the ultimate home video experience? Look no further than The Disconnected. Your host, Ryan Verrill, is your go-to source for the latest and most accurate information on home video releases, exclusive interviews with industry insiders and filmmakers, and has established a thriving community where every film and physical media enthusiast feels welcome. From hidden gems to blockbuster hits, The Disconnected brings you insider knowledge and a welcoming space to share your love of cinema. Watch every Thursday night at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific for the live announcements show, and follow The Disconnected on social media to stay updated. Subscribe to The Disconnected on YouTube or on the podcast provider of your choice, and dive into a world where every movie night is an adventure.